Okay, let's talk managers. Because across Europe, managers are being sacked, replaced, and, well, a lot of things are happening. So let's start with Tottenham. So Tottenham just sacked, well, last week, Tottenham sacked Nuno Espirito Santos for Antonio Conte. Now, we know Conte is a winner. Everywhere he goes, he wins trophies. But we also know Conte is a demanding manager. He wants not just the best from his players, but also the best from the front office. Can Levi provide Conte with the funds that he will need to construct his team? Also, are there players already at Spurs who already fit the Conte mold? If we look at his tactics and formation, we can kind of determine what Conte is most likely going to prefer at Spurs, and not just Inter but also Chelsea, because leagues differ to an extent, and most likely Conte is going to be relying on some of his Chelsea experience to guide this Spurs team. Well, Harry Kane already fits the Conte striker mold, kind of like how Lukaku did, and also not to mention under Jose Mourinho, Kane became someone who could really hold up the ball and play almost as a number 10 at times, and at the same time score goals, which is what Conte prefers anyway. So Kane, I feel like, is going to get is going to be once again reach the level he reached under Mourinho, under Conte. The second thing is Heung-min Son. Now, we know Conte loves having that second striker or like a winger or a midfielder kind of building off of that hold-up target man striker. Well, Heung-min Son already did that under Mourinho, so under Conte, it's basically going to be, just the same as usual for him. He's gonna succeed, he's gonna be scoring, he's gonna be the Lautaro Martinez of Tottenham Hotspurs. Now, the biggest concern I really have with this Conte takeover is that it seemed, at least this past transfer window, that Spurs were trying to rebuild their squads, and they were bringing a lot of young players like Hill, for example. The Spanish, I think he's a winger slash left and right midfielder. Like someone like that. Like, is that someone who's going to succeed under Conte? You're in a new league, your manager just got sacked after only a few months of being there, and now this guy comes in who prefers experience. Well, he prefers, players who can just get the results, really. Doesn't matter what your age is. But someone like Hill and some of the other young Spurs players, can they really get the results for Conte? Are they built in the Conte mold? I mean, I don't know. And this is really going to be the tricky part. I think bringing Conte for Spurs, it's because they're desperate for trophies, of course. But at the same time, I feel that to an extent, this is going to put a damper on their rebuilding project. Like, this is basically just an extension of the cycle just started by Pochettino and then continued by Jose, and now and was trying to be changed by Nuno, but now it's probably going to revert back to whatever Conte wants. And Conte probably is just going to last 2 or 3 years here, just like he does everywhere else. And after he moves on, hopefully he wins Spurs a trophy, because, actually, hopefully he doesn't win a trophy. That'd be hilarious. but if he does win him a trophy, I think then once he moves on, Spurs are going to be willing to go back into rebuilding mode and rebuild their team the way they want to see it, and which is the way Levi wants it to be done, which is really with young up and coming players. So anyways, that's Spurs. Now let's move on to a club which actually wins trophies, Barcelona. So Barcelona just sacked Ronald Koeman, who is obviously a Barcelona legend, one of their greatest defensive players of all time. And I'm not surprised. I think no one is surprised. I think everybody expected this. Everybody has been expecting this since the day he was appointed. But who did it replace him with? They replaced him with Xavi. Now, I honestly think this is a good replacement. Look, I don't usually support it if you replace or if you bring in a former player as a manager and the former player doesn't have a lot of experience in managing. But Xavi, his Al-Sadd team was pretty good. It was one of the better teams, and you see some of their goals they're scoring. It's like classic 2009 Barcelona, all tiki-taka and stuff. So Xavi coming in with that Barcelona DNA, with the La Masia knowledge, with the respect which he commands in that dressing room, and the fact of the matter is this: all the senior players are his buddies. They've all played with him, and Busquets was part of his midfield core. So that's going to make the transition extremely easy for Xavi. He's going to fit in there like a glove. And all the young players, I mean, they grew up watching him. They all respect him. They're going to listen to him. They're going to do what he says. And he's, the thing is, with Xavi, I actually don't think it's a transition. I think it's actually a reversion back to just like the Barcelona way of playing, You keep the ball, you pass the ball, you get the ball, you look around, you pass the ball, right? You move you move the ball around, you hope for possession, and you create chances as a team, right? So that's something which all of these La Masia guys have already used to, right? And it really, the players who might struggle with this are guys like Luke de Jong, but then again, he comes from the Dutch system, which is basically the ancestor of the Spanish system. So are they really going to struggle? Probably not. So anyways, from all this, I personally think Xavi at this point, this season, he's going to kind of, build his team, kind of figure out what were his core players. He's also going to probably have to look at which players does he want to move on, Does he want Piqué to still be his starting center back? Does he want Busquets in there? Does he want to start transitioning De Jong into that role as a number 6? So let's see what happens in that. But I definitely think, Barcelona are looking a lot more hopeful than they did before. And Xavi, man, he's probably the guy. If he can't bring Barcelona back, then I don't know who can. But I think he's the guy. All right, moving on to another manager, and this one survived El Sacico, Ole. So, okay, United fans, talking to Ale and some of the other United fans in the Wasted Possession crew, it seems, that United fans are pretty upset about that victory against Spurs because it meant that Ole got to hold on to his job. Look, I think it's pretty clear that Ole has provided some level of stability to the club, and if you look at his overall tenure, it's not been terrible. Like, they finished 3rd and 2nd. Did they finish 2nd? I'm not sure, but they did finish 3rd that like 2 seasons ago or a season ago. They've competed in Champions League, Europa League. Like, he's maintained them at that, in the top 4, top 5. But it hasn't been without its failures. Like, let's be honest, like, the current United side should be challenging for the title. It should be in a fight against Chelsea, Liverpool, and City, but it's not. You have Ronaldo on your team. You have Sancho on your team. You have Rashford. I mean, you shouldn't be this terrible. You have one of the best teams on paper, and definitely before the season, you were a title favorite along with Man City, and right now, you're not doing very good. In fact, you're doing absolutely horrible for the expectations and for the caliber of talent that you have. So, I understand why Ole is still at the club. He's not just a former legend, but he's someone who is trusted by the club. He's someone who represents the club really well. He's a solid guy, and he's a decent manager. He's not terrible. I think to call him horrible or terrible is a bit of an overstatement. I think he's okay, but United cannot just do okay managers. Dude, this is one of the biggest clubs in the world. They expect elite at all times, and their fans, that's what they're used to. They're used to seeing the best of the best walk through their door and be abused. So basically, when it comes to Ole, do I think he's gonna be sacked by the end of the season? I think let's see how it goes, but I do have a feeling that either this season or next season are the last season for Ole. Who is he gonna be replaced by? There's a lot of rumors. A lot of people are talking about Ten Hag and the Ajax manager. And honestly, like, I don't. First of all, I don't think if Ten Hag was to go to United, I don't think it will work. Last time a former Ajax manager came to United, that was Louis van Gaal. You know how it went. We got to see some decent football every now and then, but a lot of times it was just oof. I think this team is better than Louis van Gaal's team, and if it was led by Ten Hag, who knows? It could be very special. But at the same time, you're coming from the Dutch league. Yes, you have constructed 2 very good teams. One was the 18-19 Ajax team, which is just legendary, right? And the current Ajax team. You have constructed 2 great Ajax teams. You're domestically dominant. You compete in Europe at a really good level. But let's be honest. Like, outside of the Netherlands, where Ajax walks the league every year, where Ajax wins titles like it's nothing, right? Outside of the Netherlands, what have you done? In the Champions League, yes, you made it to the semi-final. Amazing. That was once. This season, yes, they're looking very good, but are they a team which is going to make it to the finals or the semi-finals? I don't think so, and I think a lot of people agree with that. I think Ten Hag is a great manager, but the United job, like, dude, United, like I said, one of the biggest clubs in the world, second biggest club in England because Liverpool's number one. But like, this is it's like a huge jump. Now, of course, and now here's the thing: it's not like, say, like Xavi going from El Saad to Barcelona, which is obviously a bigger jump, but it's fucking Xavi. So it's someone who has Barcelona in their DNA. It's a former player, not just a former player, a legend of the club, one of the greatest Barcelona players of all time. All right, Ten Hag, what connection does he have to United, right? And why would he take a job which seems to be ruining careers rather than building them? All right, like, let's be honest. After Ferguson, United has been a curse for managers, and which was expected because Ferguson, one of the greatest managers of all time. But still, man, this is absolutely horrid, right? Like, we have seen decent managers like David Moyes go in there and come out as a reputation for someone who deserves to only coach, relegation sides. And now with West Ham, we can see just his quality. He's a solid manager, but this is what United does, man. If you're a good manager or great up and coming manager, you don't want to go to United. If you go to United, you're gonna get fried alive. It's not worth it. So I don't think this whole Ten Hag to United thing, I doubt it's gonna happen. And now that Conte has gone to Spurs, that's definitely not happening. Like, Conte to United is definitely not happening, at least in these next 2 seasons. So Ole getting sacked this season because of that, because I think a lot of their options have been limited. And I think United were gonna go for Conte at the end of the season. Because of that, because he's gone to Spurs, I think Ole gets to ride the season out and ride out the next season. Obviously, if he wins a trophy, he could, stay longer. But I seriously doubt that, Ole is gonna be around after next season. But he's definitely gonna be there next season. Like, I am 80%, I'm 90% confident that Ole is gonna be there next season. So that's good. Because, hey, I enjoy the free 6 points I get every time Liverpool play United. Well, thank you for tuning in to the Wasted Possession podcast. Appreciate all your support. Check out the Wasted Possession Draft Premiership live on Twitch. We're now in FM22, which means we can have new champions, new rivalries, new kings. Will the old heads, will the old kings, will the champions, the greats of FM21 Draft Premiership, will they survive this cycle? Will they be able to defend their crown? Find out live on Twitch every Friday. Links in the description below, along with all our social medias. Thank you for tuning in. This is your host, Rish. Have a great day.